Assistant Secretary for Communications and Information at the Department of Commerce, Mr. Strickling serves as Administrator of the National Telecommunications and Information Administration, the agency with responsibility for advising the President on communications and information policies. Mr. Strickling was confirmed on June 25th of this year and has more than 2 decades of experience in technology policy. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Ranking Member Graves and members of the committee, thank you for your invitation to testify on behalf of the NTIA on the implementation of the broadband initiative set out in the Recovery Act. I welcome the opportunity to testify this morning, and I bring you the message that these broadband initiatives have the potential to have a profoundly positive impact on the growth and development of small businesses. I'm very pleased to appear here today with Jonathan Adelstein, who oversees the Broadband Initiatives Program at the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Our 2 agencies have worked hand in hand to implement the broadband provisions of the Recovery Act, and the result has been a highly coordinated and well thought out approach that has taken advantage of the individual expertise of each agency. The President's Innovation Plan announced in September makes clear that the foundation for durable, sustainable economic growth must be innovation and investment. The Recovery Act, by providing over $7 billion for broadband grants and loans, directly supports building that foundation. With these funds, I am confident that America will take a significant step forward in achieving President Obama's vision of bringing the benefits of broadband to all Americans. Small businesses are the backbone of the American economy, and broadband connectivity is essential for small business. They stand to gain significantly from the broadband stimulus in the Recovery Act, either by applying for funds directly or by benefiting from the improved infrastructure that will result from projects built in their communities. The economic impact of broadband with broadband see more rapid growth in employment, more rapid growth in business activity, relative to comparable communities without broadband. With access to modern infrastructure, small businesses can reach consumers worldwide in a manner they could have only dreamed of years ago, and they can now cost-effectively compete against the largest corporations if they have a product the world wants. And these benefits reach small business wherever they are located, including rural areas. A recent report from the Department of Agriculture concluded that rural communities with high-speed broadband facilities experienced greater economic growth, specifically job growth and higher revenues, than their counterparts that lacked the infrastructure. There are a myriad of other benefits to small businesses and communities from increased broadband availability. For example, the increased use of telehealth assists rural hospitals and remote healthcare systems in improving their capacity for treating patients. Telehealth can help cut healthcare costs for all firms, but especially for small businesses, which consistently cite the rising cost of healthcare as a major concern. Our agencies have received an extraordinary response to our initial round of funding, and we look forward to the challenge of awarding grants to a diverse set of recipients. Between our 2 agencies, we received over 2,200 applications requesting nearly $28 billion in funding, 7 times the funding we had made available in the first round. At least 1 application was filed for each state, territory, and the District of Columbia. The applicant pool is diverse, includes states, tribal nations, local governments, nonprofit organizations, telephone, cable, and wireless companies, and anchor institutions such as libraries, schools, and hospitals. We were particularly pleased to see strong participation from the small business community in the first round, particularly socially and economic disadvantaged businesses. Out of the total pool of applications submitted to us, around 15% were made by socially disadvantaged businesses or from applicants who were partnering with SDBs. These applications account for just under $2 billion of the total $28 billion requested in the first round. This occurred because we made special efforts to encourage SDBs to apply to our programs. During our educational campaign last summer to inform interested parties about the grant program, we conducted 3 workshops that focused exclusively on providing guidance to small businesses, including small and economically disadvantaged businesses, as to how they could apply for grants. The Minority Business Development Agency and the Department of Commerce also helped publicize the opportunities of the grant program to minority firms. Overall, I believe the significant number of applications filed by SDBs demonstrates the success of our outreach campaign to this business community, and we look forward to strengthening the program in our next funding round. We are currently in the midst of reviewing our applications, and as I noted yesterday at the Senate Commerce Committee oversight hearing, we are now targeting mid-December for the announcement of the first grant awards. But even in the middle of all this activity to review the current applications, we are constantly thinking about ways to improve the program. We are working with the Department of Agriculture to finalize a request for information to collect input from the public as to how to improve the program in the second round. In this RFI, we will ask for suggestions as to how we can streamline the application process and for comments on some of the key program definitions. As has been previously reported, RUS and NTIA are evaluating whether to combine the original rounds 2 and 3 into a single funding round. If we do so, we would expect to initiate the new application round after the first of the year. The key for us in setting that start date will be to make sure we are able to apply the lessons learned from the first round in designing the second funding round. But as required by the Recovery Act, we will award all of the broadband stimulus dollars by September 30th of 2010. In my remaining time, I'd like to spend just a minute on our progress in developing the National Broadband Map. Under our state Broadband Data and Development Grant Program, for which Congress appropriated $350 million, our plan is to award a broadband mapping grant to every state and territory for the purpose of collecting and verifying broadband data in accordance with the standards we have set. We have now awarded 8 grants totaling over $14 million under this program to Indiana, North Carolina, West Virginia, Arkansas, Vermont, as well as California, New York, and the District of Columbia. In addition, we are in the final stages of awarding additional grants next week, and we will continue to announce these awards on a rolling basis. Our statutory deadline to publish a comprehensive interactive national broadband map is February 2011. In closing, we are working extremely hard to ensure that the broadband projects funded by the Recovery Act and the broadband mapping information developed from our mapping grant program serve as valuable inputs to the nation's long-term broadband strategy. Thank you again for the opportunity to testify, and I look forward to your questions.